exactly sets Graham apart from the rest?
Well, a number of things. Some of the primary distinguishing characteristics of Graham is show of effort. So that Graham, rather than trying to make something look very beautiful and easy, like romantic ballet, you're trying to show that life is hard and things have effort, and so you have to condition the body from the inside out to develop that kind of expressive, and then also the vocabulary is very, very rigorous. And so you begin doing exercises. Let's say here's the fourth position on the floor. And you begin learning it as a beginner you learn it, You learn it very basically, but then, as you get more advanced. So this would be like, let's say, the level 2. But then when you get more advanced, everything goes to the knees. So, but the technique was really evolved for Graham's to serve her choreography. She had this choreographic idea in a way that she wanted people to move, and nobody moved that way at all. It had never been even conceived before. It was, they compare her sort of, to go into your question about Graham's significance creatively. She's been likened to Stravinsky or Picasso or James Joyce in her art form of completely going where nobody's gone before. You could, what had been happening in dance previous to that was, ballet, or sometimes backing up an opera. It was kind of vaudeville, sort of exotic or showgirly kind of thing. And then, of course, Isadora Duncan kind of paved the way for dancing barefoot, But what Martha Graham and Doris Humphrey were able to do is sort of sing, with the sheer power of their will and their genius for movement. You can almost describe Graham technique like plate tectonics. The continents are moving on the surface of the planet, but it starts with activity in the center body, in the core, and radiates outward. And that's one of the ideas of, Graham's absolutely moving from the center. So for her, that's the pelvis and the spine. And the technique is designed to feature that. So on one level, that's like a design element that's never been done before. But at another sort of genius level, it's like this is the essence of the human. You're getting right into your to your spine. So how about if I give you an example of floor work and then standing work? Just a little bit standing. Now I'm not warm. Disclaimer. I'm not warm. Okay. So in essence, I'll show you the technique. If you can say ballet is essentially a plie and a tendu in a shifted way. A Graham is essentially based on the movement of the pelvis and the spine. So the idea of contracting the spine and releasing the spine. It's almost like you gather in energy and you release it. So, at its simplest form, it's related to the breath. So we begin class, very relatively in the beginning of class, with a series of breathings. Breathings on 2. So again, you're starting from the base, and then the second development, you take it into the chest. See if the breathing's on 4. And then moving on from that, later on in the progression of the class, you have that same idea, the contraction, the release, the high release, but you take it into the spiral plane. So you have, there's one development. The whole floor work is basically a theme in development. So then it progresses through the spine, and then you begin adding the leg and the torso in. Again, the essence still being, though, contraction and release. But you've added the element of spiral to it as well. So, but the root of it is always in the core of the pelvis. So that would be an example of movement on the floor. Then standing, again, we go to our idea of contraction and release, a very basic exercise that we do. Again, movement initiates from the pelvis. Example. Now you can use it to take yourself through space. You use it to shift your weight. The contraction and the release. The use of the contraction to move the torso. That'd be an example of standing work. Use of the back with the spiral. Graham is really of the heroic age. There's quite a heroic element
to graham movement as well.
Yeah.